Hello, welcome to my channel and thank you for being here. It's just occurred to me that it's Easter Friday and I thought I would sort of commemorate that event by showing a corresponding image that was taken on Easter Friday or on Easter weekend at least. And it's the image you've seen at the opening, which was made in Cuito Cuanavale in 2008 on an Easter weekend. I was there with a group of people to commemorate 20 years of the Battle of Cuito Cuanavale, a very decisive military battle that changed the trajectory, socio-political trajectory of this region, in which highly contested but incontrovertible that the South Africans lost that battle. Their vehicles are to this day stuck in the forests in Cuito Cuanavale and in the bridge in the river, and were forced to concede that there would be no military victory and that they would need to resort to negotiations. And subsequent to that, very soon after Namibia was Southwest Africa became Namibia. Namibia got its liberation and its freedom, and South African political prisoners were released, and a process began. Of course, this also coincided with the fall of the Soviet Union, and it was the Soviets who decided that battle. In fact, and the Cubans jointly, the military, the equipment of the Soviets, and some of their personnel, and the equipment and personnel of the Cubans, many of whom were vanquished and died in that country. Anyway, this was an Easter weekend, and the Mozambicans, who are, were colonized by the Portuguese, and as a result are largely Catholic, were celebrating that weekend when I was there in 2008. That Christian aspect of the Easter weekend, of which I don't know a huge amount, to be honest, but a symbolic image in some ways. And the next image that I will show, which was done earlier, actually, in an earlier trip to Cuito Cuanavale in 2005, with this fascination of mine with this place that was so significant in changing the history of our region. That proxy war that was largely engineered by Washington and fought by the South Africans with local Mozambique Angolan forces of Jonas Savimbi's forces, and UNITA, they were called, and and resisted by the Cubans and the Angolans. And even a few South Africans were there, the ANC cadres involved in that battle. Mkhonto Sizwe, that is. And this next image is also a religious theme to commemorate this Easter weekend that I'm posting this, of a Catholic. This wasn't done on an Easter weekend, but it was a Catholic service done in the village of Cuito Cuanavale whilst I was there. and it captures the Angolanness of these people. And when I went in 2005, which was shortly after a few years after the end of that war, a 40-year war, 20 years against the colonialists and another 20 years against the neo-colonialists, the, the imperialists. Um, it captures that crossover between the, you know, the Angolanness of that place, the capelanas and that little wooden stool and the plastic stools of heralding modernity. And also in 2005, the third and fourth images that I'll post, but so the third one, which is an installation, this star, which symbolized the Fapla forces, the Angolan forces, which is a marking for, and some shell casing for a military grave, which also has civilians, and which is purported to have something like 30,000 people buried in that graveyard, which has been overtaken by, at that point, by the savannah bush. And that is a marker to the horror of that war. When we visited in 2005, it was that country had been thrown back decades, if not, thrown back into prehistory, and was having to resurrect itself as a phoenix from the horrors of that war. And so this stark, very basic symbolism is a marker to that the horror of that war. I photographed, a lot of the more obvious markers of that war, like destroyed military equipment, damaged roads, that sort of thing. But I think these images kind of speak, symbolically to, when negotiation fails, when diplomacy fails, or when one party is militaristic and feels that they have the upper hand and can easily resort to violence, then this is the fate for the people. The final images kind of speaks to that. You're looking at what was a cooperative building, a regional, in Cuito Cuanavale, a regional cooperative building that now had metamorphosed into a nightclub on a Saturday evening. And I'm afraid I don't have the best of scans here, but in the doorway you see somebody in a wheelchair, obviously a victim of that war, having lost their limbs probably, or to landmines most probably. And there's also a sort of a wheel there that looks like it came off some sort of armored vehicle that is now serving as a footstep into this somewhat neglected building that is being has now a dual function, probably hosts meetings, but also Saturday nightclub, which has its place in society as an indicator of people's lust for life and for procreation and for the furtherance of life. So yes, I hope these images kind of mark the death and the resurrection The little I remember of my catechism as a good Catholic, that the Easter weekend symbolizes, and and I am very optimistic for the death of uh, settler colonialism and neo-colonialism and that imperialism as we herald the dawn with bricks of a multipolar, a new order and new life for all these vanquished, long-suffering colonial regions of the world that were subjected to the predatory nature of settler colonialism. So enjoy your Easter weekend, folks, and we look forward to a brighter future. So thank you for watching. More information on myself and my work can be found on my website, a link to which, including my blog and email address, can be found in the video description below. If you like this talk, remember to click the like button and press subscribe. It helps the channel grow.